What's up, guys? This is Dave from The Disorderly. We're joined once again by our good buddy, Mr. Andrew Volpe. We just saw, probably what, I don't know, a couple days ago, over the weekend, the new Quentin Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's always an event when he decides to make a film, so we do our best. We get out there and go watch it with all the other old people. My theater was almost exclusively old people.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, man. They dig it, man.
I mean, that's cool. I mean,
they want to see their era.
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know what I mean?
honestly, like, I'm excited that there's something out there that's getting asses in seats. That's not, like.
That's not The Lion King.
Yeah, and something that will. It kind of. I know it sounds like fucking makes me sound like an old man, but yeah, it is kind of nice that there is just like some adult fare out there that's like.
What are you saying? Are you saying that the Avengers Endgame is written for 5-year-olds?
Right. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love my Avengers Endgame shit. I just, I want more variety, and especially when it's like you don't get as many like kind of art house events like a Tarantino movie, and it never. You know what I mean? He's kind of the pinnacle
totally.
of, and he's kind of like the intersection of everything. Like most people can get behind it. Basically, if they're not, offended, if they have not been offended.
No,
by
I mean, yeah, like the.
It's like South Park. It's like if you have not like if you didn't get over being offended by them 20 years ago, then you're never going to get on the train.
No, it was funny because I was like in anticipation of this. I was just waiting for, because you kind of forget, like, because what, Hateful Eight was the last film, and it was what, 2000...
Like 2015, 2016,
something like that. It was like, think of like how the world has changed even in a couple of years. Yeah. Sort of the outrage culture and the clickbait headlines are just getting worse and worse. I was like, let's see how Tarantino does. Oh, everyone's pissed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Bruce Lee's daughter is pissed. PETA's pissed. You name it, they're
PETA's
pissed.
Pissed, really? I mean,
PETA, well, yeah, because you had a dog, the best character in the film. That's,
yeah.
Brandy, right?
Yeah, but the dog was doing the injuring. The dog didn't seem to be...
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No. It's how the dog was portrayed, my man.
Oh.
That's a sweet, lovable dog. You had the dog rip out a man's groin.
The dog was
Spoiler alert.
sweet and lovable before it ripped out the guy. And it was doing it,
Yeah, spoilers. Spoilers.
Oh, yeah, we should say...
we do this every time, but...
I mean, look, you're going to post this on YouTube and it's going to say fucking spoilers all over it. So if people don't read, that's on them.
Oh, there you go. So you've sort of been warned.
Yeah.
Also, we're getting into it.
It's whatever.
Screw the innocent.
And plus, I mean, this is a good movie to discuss right off the bat, with the spoilers or whatever. Like,
oh, no.
Yeah,
this is, I hate watching people's tiptoe around. Oh, it's got something that happens that like may be of interest.
And it's like the first 10 minutes of the conversation is just like completely pointless. Like, basically, you could sum it up in like a few sentences, and then it'd be like, "Why are you listening to this?" Otherwise, you clearly don't care about the spoilers. In which case, you might as well just go into it.
I can't. Yeah. Who's got the time?
I don't know. Yeah, like I always save all my review podcasts. Like if I care about the movie, I'm gonna hold off on it. If not, then whatever. I'll listen to spoilers for whatever crappy like Disney movie or whatever's out there.
Well, there you go. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
I've got questions.
Yeah.
You've got answers. How many pairs of feet can you handle in 3 hours? Do you like feet?
Damn, there was
a lot of feet.
Quite a few feet.
I was like, my God, man, I'm blushing over here. Take it easy. It's like he just steered into it.
I mean, the cat's kind of out of the bag.
Damn.
I feel like
I know, but just relax, dude.
Yeah, and I always wonder what's going through the actresses' heads.
Right. Hey, Margot, let's kick those shoes off.
Margot, which one was more degrading? The fucking like barely there outfit of Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad, or just constantly being foot fetishized, or just like kind of weirdly fetishized? I gotta say, movie is like such a interesting mixed bag, but I do find Margot Robbie and the whole just the portrayal of Sharon Tate just to be so straight. It's like different for a Tarantino movie. This is like his weirdly like his softest movie. You know what I mean?
Oh no, it is. And you know, I think you know, we'll kind of get back to the overall feel and how it stands out in the whole catalog and everything. But like, people are also kind of upset about Margot Robbie's role or lack thereof, whether or not she even needs to be in the film. Right. Because she was like the last holdout. I remember like a year, 2, 3, when they started coming, you know, negotiations are going to see if Margot Robbie is going to be. And she was like the last one, the holdout, right? She was the last one to kind of, you know, Leo and Brad were all set, you know, as their parts and everything. And then it was all about whether or not Tarantino could convince Margot Robbie to do this role. And it's like, yeah, you know, you really didn't really say much.
Yeah. Well, okay. Like, I was very curious, like, since I started hearing about this movie, as to how the whole Sharon Tate thing was going to be handled. And I have very mixed feelings about it. Like, I think it was, like, I'm not offended by it in any way. It's just a question of, like, was it necessary in the plot? Like basically, I think it figures into the whole purpose of this film in general, which is, like, you know, I think Tarantino coined the phrase hangout movie. Like, this is a hangout movie where there's not that much plot, and it's really just, like, a few characters that you like, and you literally just kind of follow them around for a while, and stuff happens, and some of it gets resolved, and some doesn't.
I've heard a lot of Lebowski comparisons, you know what I mean? Kind of, there's not a whole lot of plot. I guess Lebowski has an actual stronger plot, I'd argue.
Yeah, it's like a more convoluted, has more structure to it.
It has more of the act structure of a major conflict and the characters working through it and a resolution. This one is basically just kind of watching a man fall apart, and then the people on the periphery of his life and dealing with that. You know what I mean? It's kind of and then just Margot Robbie.
I feel like you know, everyone. I've heard everyone comparing it to Inglourious Bastards with the gotcha. We killed Hitler.
Yeah, did you call that? Like, I was trying to remember. Did we talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, like, it felt like it would make sense. But yeah, I had been wondering about that, but I was curious what angle he was going to take with it, because I was really curious if it was going to be like, because, you know, Tarantino's last 3 movies, or even more than that, like, they always have the very straightforward revenge plot, like, you know what I mean, like Django, Inglourious Bastards, and whatever, what's the other one?
Hateful Eight.
The fucking Kill Bill, duh. But yeah, like, and so I was like, I was really curious, since this was a real person. I was like, okay, so I could picture it being like Tarantino's going to do some sort of revised history thing and have, you know, Sharon Tate kill the Manson family instead. But I was wondering how he could possibly handle that in any semblance of good taste. Like, you know, if you just turned it into Kill Bill, that's, like, terrible. And also, like, you know, Tarantino, I kind of feel like probably has some sort of reverence for Polanski, who's, like, still around and everything. And this was, you know, granted, Polanski's got his own complications these days.
He's the king of the Me Too movement. He was being Me Too'd before the Me Too tours were even born.
Yeah, I mean,
he's been on the periphery. He's been in Paris. He's been on the outs.
40 years.
Yeah, I mean, he's in exile. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I don't know how much concern you have over besmirching his good name. You know
true. But I think in general, I don't think like Tarantino was gonna like set out to be like, fuck, you know, that terrible thing that happened, I'm gonna, you know, profit off it. But like, so I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, Sharon Tate and Margot Robbie in this movie is so strange. Like, you know, you kind of are looking at it as an objective outside observer, and, you know, I think the thing is, it's almost like the gotcha is, the movie's not really about Sharon Tate. You know, you're in it for, like, the story is about DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, and this Sharon Tate stuff is kind of there to tease you with tension. And at first, like, when I was watching the movie, I was kind of mixed on, like, how, like, if I liked it or not, because, like, I kind of got what he was getting at, and I did enjoy it, but I felt like we were spending so long with her, and there's so many, like, it's almost over-embellishing the, like, okay, let's luxuriate and like, all of the details of her life. Like, he seemed like, I'm not as aware of the...
No, it was interesting, because I honestly think she just served as a tool to show a foil of Leo's character of, this is what success looks like, this is what someone on the rise looks like, this is what paparazzi in LAX looks like, this is what driving around in an exotic foreign car looks like, this is what opening your gate and driving up to your palatial house on the hills looks like, and then and then showing what the downside of coming down off this is, and through Leo and the drinking and the, you know, his whole kind of, you know, and like Tarantino has kind of said, like, we didn't explain it in the film, but he's kind of an alcoholic, he's bipolar,
right?
Like, we just didn't say the word bipolar in the film because he wouldn't have known that back then,
right,
he wouldn't have been diagnosed that way, but he's kind of that type of manic personality.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it. No, I think that's just, that to me was kind of, you know, it would have been 3 hours of Leonardo DiCaprio just moping around, and I think he went, you know what would be great? A hot movie star. Let's plop her in there, and remind people that it didn't all suck, you know, back in the 70s, that a lot of it is more shit change, you know, stays the same, it changes, blah blah blah, whatever.
Well, I think actually, like, you know, like, same thing. Like, when I was watching the movie, I wasn't so sure about it, but as I was, like, thinking on it more later, like, the Sharon Tate stuff, like, I feel like the real point of the movie isn't really so much the plot. Like, I think, like, Tarantino just, like, because if you watch the movie, like, everything, this specific era is so lovingly recreated in every single shot. Like, they have so many props and so many, like, driving shots where it's just two characters talking in a car, but the entire street, you can see the entire street as they drive down the street, but it's, like, all, like, perfectly 60s centric and filled with extras. And I think that's the real thing he wanted, is he just wanted to recreate this era and how much he loved it, like, all the nuances, like the commercials and you know, pop culture of that era. And I think that's where the Sharon Tate stuff comes in too, because I think she up until this point has always pretty much, like, any image of her that was around before she was murdered had been, like, she's always associated with, like, brutal murders and victimhood and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, it's, like, kind of giving her back agency. You know what I mean? Like, it's like giving her, like, hey, like, I think that's, like, if Tarantino was on the phone with Polanski being like, hey, this was what I wanted to do, and with all due respect to the situation and everything like that, I feel like that is the pitch that you make, is like, this is, like, in a way bringing her back to life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, I was thinking, well, the older couple that was sitting next to me were, like, when it was all over and there's that kind of rising crane shot of them walking up to the house and, like, Leo's introducing himself, you know, Rick Dalton and everything. Like, the couple next to me were going insane.
Oh.
Like, stupid ending. Stupid. Horrible. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
They hated it because I think it just, you know, it wasn't correct. I mean, they were making little analytical critiques the entire time about, well, that didn't happen. Well, that was different. And you know, no shit. But I'm like, we live, you know, I live in Southern California. I'm not far from LA. So these people, you know, they could have been in that era. They were partying, and that was their heyday.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting time capsule thing for them, maybe go see. But
yeah,
you know, they were not jazzed by the reimagined ending, and I couldn't help but wonder how many dumbass, like, just young people who don't know anything about anything are gonna maybe think that this was kind of what happened.
No,
like, that it takes away kind of from the Manson.
Right. Everyone's expecting, like, a gore fest and something that's, like, really lurid, and, you know, they're expecting more traditional Tarantino stuff. But I was wondering the same thing. Like, I feel like I wonder if this will have the same cult following as his other movies. I feel like it will, but it'll be way more niche. Like, you're not going to see as many, like, college posters of this. And
No.
I think, yeah, it'll be, like, maybe even more niche than, like, Jackie Brown or whatever. Like, because this is, I don't know, you know, I feel like quote-unquote mature movies, like, usually tends to translate into boring. And in that sense, this is kind of, like this isn't my favorite of his movies, but I do like how he's trying to get out of his... He's trying to get out of his comfort zone while still having a lot of the same things that you like in Tarantino's movies. And, like, you know... he has always been good at making characters that you just want to hang out with, and that's some of the best scenes in this movie. Like, one of my favorite scenes in the movie for sure is where it's just DiCaprio and Brad Pitt sitting watching TV and drinking beer and, like, talking about the fucking FBI show or whatever.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I agree. That was kind of an interesting thing. I mean, you know, going into some of the other scenes, some of my favorite scenes, you know, for instance... some of the little scenes, like, I loved the setup where Rick Dalton, he goes on, you know, he's doing is it Lancers, the pilot that he's going to go do?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's the bad guy, right? And Brad Pitt kind of asks him ahead of time, like, hey, did you ask about any, you know, trying to get him, like, a gig doing some stunt work. And he goes, yeah, you know what? It's the guy from Green Hornet, so there's really no point.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, huh, I wonder, you know, and then soon enough, you know, yeah, they do that flashback. And the flashback scenes, I honestly like, I've heard people complain about them, that they thought they were hacky, or that they thought they were, like, Family Guy style.
Oh, right.
But I don't know, man, how better to kind of, I appreciated... you know, giving me that context in a 3-hour movie. You know, go ahead and put it on film. Like, don't blurb over it when they're like riding in the car. You know, so those were some of my favorite scenes. You know, where you know, the Great Escape kind of CGI. You know, I thought that was the real comedy. You know what I mean? To me, that the comedic moments he interjects are Timothy Olyphant kind of like trying to like get some info out of him, like, man, I heard you know,
you were close.
He, in a polite way, is asking him, hey, did you lose to Steve McQueen in The Great Escape?
Right.
And Leo does the whole actor thing where, oh no, we never talked about it, we never had any discussions, blah blah blah. And it's clear he was either in, he was in the damn, he was in the movie, and then something happened, and he was fired and replaced, which is the, like, absolute worst thing you can, I mean,
especially when the movie ends up making, you know, becoming one of the greatest movies of all time.
I mean, that's the, you know, Michael J. Fox coming in and replacing
James what's his face,
what's his name exactly,
you
know what I mean, there you are. So if you didn't know, there was another gentleman that filmed like several weeks of Back to the Future, you know, and then they were like, yeah, he's terrible, and bring Michael J. Fox in. And, you know, was it Universal that made Back to the Future? They spent so much goddamn money bringing him in. They would, like, film at night around his schedule when he was doing his horrible sitcom. But basically, like, that's how much they didn't like the other dude.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what history remembers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's if it's snatched from your fingers like that, you know, I'd be having 14 drinks a night or whatever he's doing now.
Totally. You know, so...
But so I will say one of the things I liked about the movie is that even though DiCaprio is, like, you know, kind of, it's easy to paint him as a schmuck. Like, I wasn't expecting it, but I did kind of like how he has this weird redemption arc, like, kind of out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. I guess talking to that little 8-year-old girl, like, turned his life around, and
well, a good book will do that to you.
Well, so like, it's weird because it's like the Sharon Tate thing. Like, the whole movie's leading up to it going one direction, and then it's like, oops, never mind, just kidding. Things actually, like, it almost feels like, you know, like when people have, like, tell you, like, you took your dog's living on a farm now with a bunch of other dogs because you don't want to tell them that you had to put him to sleep. It's almost like, yeah, we're going to tell you this nice fantasy story that's, like, totally not realistic. Like, they even kind of, like, when he's talking to the little girl, like, he's talking about this book. He's like, I'm halfway through this book, and like the character in the book is clearly something that DiCaprio is like relating to, and he doesn't know how to turn it around. And it's weird. It just almost seems like it's like divine intervention or something, that this one random little girl comes and like pep talks him into giving the best performance of his career or whatever.
Totally. I love the line where he's breaking down. He's like, "You'll know about 10 years from now. This will be you," you know, kind of thing. I was like, Jesus, bro.
Yeah.
And she kind of like misses it, and he's like, "Oh, nothing."
Yeah.
You know, but no, I found it. I guess I was like, God damn. I mean, I can't imagine a world where people would sit around and read books, because all I ever see is people just looking at Instagram or whatever.
Right.
But I was like, wow, holy shit. Like looking at people sitting down kind of on their off time, whatever, just reading a book. I was like, damn, you just don't see this.
Right.
And it was hard for me to imagine him sitting down and reading a book. Like that's how he chooses to spend his time. Not maybe networking, maybe, you know, not glad handing, not bullshitting.
Right.
Like he's just going to go wander around, sit in a chair, read a book. I was like, I cannot imagine this dude is doing it when he's hungover as shit.
Yeah.
And he had like, what, 8 or 16 whiskey sours the night before.
Well, okay.
I was like, I love your book scene, Tarantino, but I don't buy it.
Well,
bro.
maybe DiCaprio is the one that's full of shit. Like maybe he's been halfway through that book for like 2 years or something. Because remember, he doesn't like, you know, it's like
I would have picked another fake book to be halfway through, though.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Pick a classic, not something that, you know, looks like I read in 8th grade or something.
Right. Oh, I'm sure
White
it's
Fang
some
or some
fucking
shit.
book that Tarantino found in a you know, like old.
It looks
jazz
like a Hardy
man's-
Boy adventure or something.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean,
And would a guy that it's like saying Harrison Ford in the 90s is sitting there reading like Star Wars Young Jedi books. Like I can't imagine a guy who's like made his life as like a TV cowboy, as the director says, right?
yeah.
Do you think he's sitting around reading Western? I can't imagine.
I'm telling
it,
you,
dude. It
man.
just
I don't
stuck
think.
out in
I
my
think he
mind.
just
Like,
keeps
what?
the book around to act like he does if he needs.
It
Because
did
he's
look pretty
so
dog-eared, right?
he's so worried about people's perception of him that it's totally something he would do.
But that's what I'm saying. Then get Moby Dick or some shit. Get
right.
you know anything else.
Well, you know, you
Damn,
gotta make it somewhat believable or whatever. I don't know. You know, who the fuck knows? There's a lot of that is like one of the cool things, though. There is like a lot of things that are so obliquely drawn. You could kind of extrapolate a lot from it. Still never know. Did Brad Pitt kill his wife or not?
Well, I was going to get into it. You
Yeah.
want to just get into it?
Yeah, sure. Okay, from the outset, I will say the thing I thought that was interesting. Once again, like kind of mixed feelings on it, but I did think it was interesting that the whole boat thing is a flashback within a flashback. Did you notice that? Like he spends so long on these like asides, which is really what the movie's about, that like you kind of forget that they're asides. It's like, oh yeah, Brad Pitt's still on the roof. I forgot about that. You know?
He was up on that roof all goddamn day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, let's get to the meat of it. What do you think? He's holding the spear gun at a pretty precocious angle.
Right.
Right? But he's sitting, what, 3 feet away?
Yeah. I mean,
Now I don't know what the killing strike range of that thing is, but where do you think it landed? Do you think it landed,
it'd have to be like a throat.
mid-core, thorax shot maybe? Did
Nah.
it take an eye out,
I feel like that would have to be because he is clearly, even if it was a quote unquote accident, he's I would expect him to be a deadly shot. And since his wife was kind of running her mouth, I wouldn't be
she
surprised
was
if it was a
talking
throat
shit.
shot or something.
Ooh.
But
Now, what I just want to know. Okay, can finish your point because I'm curious.
I was gonna. Well, what are you gonna say?
Well, I want to know if he got her in one shot, like he kills her, or if he wasn't able to save her after accidentally shooting her.
Right.
Because there's a difference.
Right. Well,
Now, if you accidentally shoot her and you cannot save her, what does that tell you about the man?
well,
How far out of the ocean were they?
well, I mean, this thing sounds very reminiscent of the whole Natalie Wood thing. Like, do you-
I'm sure that was kind of an intentional
like a nod or
thing in there. Christopher Walken,
Yeah.
little,
but
little dabble in there, you know.
yeah, like I would say, I mean, once again, that's kind of the beauty of it, is you can imagine whatever you want, but
I want to imagine he just got so pissed and then he just pulls the trigger.
yeah, and you just say, hey, you hit some choppy water and it was an accident or some shit like that. But I
want to know the whole story about how he got off.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many like different ways. Maybe fucking Rick pulled some strings or something like that. You never know. Like that's a whole movie in and of itself.
Oh, I want to know everything, and it's clearly affected his career.
Yeah, I mean, like,
you know what I mean, where the stunt coordinator is hesitant to hire him
right.
because of the you know, kind of the cloud
right.
lurking over his head. Fair or unfair, you know?
Well, I have to admit, I was watching somebody else bring up this point, and I still think...
Wait a second, what?
I saw a thing, I read this somewhere, and I think it doesn't... I still don't totally buy it, but somebody pointed out that, was it Marcia Gayheart played his wife in that little vignette,
the actress,
they were saying that she looks a lot like Angelina Jolie. And remember the last movie her and Brad Pitt did together before they divorced was the movie called By the Sea, about a couple with a failing marriage or whatever the hell. So
I thought it was Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Maybe, I guess not.
No, that was the movie that they got together on.
Shit.
But the last movie they did before they got divorced.
Oh, I forgot about Jennifer Aniston. Yeah.
Yeah, like this was a whole you know, like nobody remembers this movie because it came and went, and then they got divorced like 6 months later. And it was like apparently terrible. But
it feels like an insane thing to do.
It's a pretty
Pitt
hardcore
or
diss.
Tarantino.
But I mean, there could be an analogy because Brad Pitt really hasn't worked that much since the divorce, and you know everyone kind of blamed him.
He's worth like $300 million. I wouldn't either.
True, and
I would just chill.
He's got his own production company and all this other shit. But
sure,
but
he's got 10 kids.
So you know, if this is one of the only 2 roles that he's doing this year for the first time in several years, like I could see it being, you know, maybe working in a little bit of you know, personal experience into that role or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I read that somewhere, and I have to admit, like, it does make me wonder. I think it's easy to read into things like that a little too much, but...
I think if she was, like, you know, had long blonde hair, kind of pale, I don't get a Angelina Jolie vibe.
I don't know. Angelina Jolie's kind of had a few different looks, so I guess it kind of works.
But I don't know, man. What has she had other than pale and black hair, like a Morticia?
Come on, man. You don't remember the Hackers years? The 90s?
I mean, still dark hair, though.
I don't know.
I mean, classic that you paint a picture of Angelina Jolie. What color hair does she have?
I don't know, red?
Red? What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. Look, I'm just saying it's some bullshit theory I read somewhere, but...
It is a bullshit theory. I don't think so. That's an insane thing to do. There's no way. There's no way they intentionally... I can't accept it.
I deny it. I say.
No, I can't. You know, the Natalie... I think it's more Natalie Wood than it is...
Yeah, the Natalie Wood thing, like, that's something, like, I immediately was, like, thinking of when they did that.
I think... you know, they just wanted something weird, you know, that he could kind of, you know, call upon, you know what I mean? And by the way, I kept thinking while he's in the trailer with his dog in like a parking lot somewhere in like Van Nuys, Ash is one bus accident away from that basically being my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was wondering about that when they were showing the dog. I was like, yeah, man, that totally.
I'm just making macaroni and cheese every night. You know what I mean? Me and the Tasha man, you know what I mean? We're just on a couch in a trailer, in like within about 72 hours. I bet.
It's like wait, how did you even move that quick?
No, they come and move you.
Yeah,
they move you out.
The
here's your trailer, sir. Here's your what were those old trailers called?
Oh,
the lightning magnet trailers,
yeah,
Super Steam or Beam or
something like that.
Gulfstream or something.
Gulfstream, yes, Gulfstream.
Is that it? Yeah. I mean, I was like, that's me.
Yeah,
that's me. And by the way, like, why wouldn't you just park your POS house somewhat closer
like,
to Leonardo DiCaprio?
You know,
because
Leonardo
you're in traffic. You're in LA traffic.
In his fucking driveway or whatever.
No, maybe not in his driveway, but just like maybe on a beach
or
something. You know what I mean? Like to have it as like. I don't know why you wanted. I don't know.
I
It seemed very
it
strange
could be,
to park him out in Van Nuys.
I don't know. Maybe he likes the free movies or whatever.
Not that much. Not to sit in in that traffic every day.
Yeah, like how far?
Hey, you need anything else?
Since
Nope.
you're a LA, like I was wondering about that because clearly when they were showing Brad Pitt's commute, and they show so much driving in this movie, it's interesting. But,
so much driving.
But so how far would Brad Pitt's commute be from?
Well, when it comes
Hollywood?
to LA traffic, you don't measure it in miles. You measure it in
I guess
hours.
Streamline it a little bit because it was the '60s, but like, what was that like 2
yeah,
hours?
All right, so I mean, it's probably in non-peak hours, it's probably 40 minutes at least.
Jesus.
He's got to get from Beverly Hills, because that's what he's living somewhere in the hills, right?
Yeah.
I don't know where the Death Murder House is. We could look it up. It's like it's a very famous, but it's somewhere. It's not shitty. It's somewhere in the hills.
Yeah.
And then to get across the valley into Van Nuys, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a non-haul.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's to get from like even Santa Monica back down to into LA is even still brutal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, as the crow flies, it's
right.
3.5 miles. That doesn't. Oh, it took you 81 minutes.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? So I think from me, I live like 50 miles from, let's say, Santa Monica, and that's a good middle of the day, like 3 o'clock. It's 2.5 hours.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So it's another level out here.
Wow.
So I was like, man, park him out on PCH on the 1. You know what I mean? And just give him a little, put him somewhere. It's 1969. There's got to be somewhere. He'd rather live on Spawn Ranch.
Well, so
you know
I was wondering about that,
like that
because I was trying to think, like, okay, like, yeah, character motivation wise, like, why would he do it? And I don't think they ever, like, expressly say it, but I do kind of wonder if maybe Brad Pitt is, like, a little bit above all of this Hollywood bullshit life. Like, he in his own weird way, I think even though he has to do everything for Leonardo DiCaprio's character, like, he probably looks down on him. And whenever they show both their feet, they kind of... Tarantino keeps on trying to focus on, it seems like, the fact that DiCaprio's got, like, nice fancy shoes and Brad Pitt has, like, moccasins or something. And Brad Pitt's kind of got affinities for all these hippie chicks. So I kind of get the impression that he's, like, becoming infatuated with this new era that's on the rise. Like, that's, like, a very big theme is, like, the transition of time, like, the... moving out of the golden age of Hollywood into this like weird new Hollywood period of the 70s.
Right. Yeah, I think his like struggling poor guy aesthetic really moved in and meshed well with pardon me, with kind of the hippie movement and I was like, this is a fascinating dilemma because he kind of, on the one hand, as he's kind of picking up the girl, different stages, right? So he goes, I'm headed one way, you're going the other, can't pick you up. Third time, he picks her up. No man has ever picked up a hitchhiking girl because he was being a good guy, right?
Ass cash, but then, ass.
Right. So then the assumption of, well, she's going to offer sex in some form, and he turns it down, which makes him a good guy, right? So picking her up is kind of a sleazy thing to do. He's not doing her a favor, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like,
but turning it down kind of brings it back.
Whether it was or not back in the day, I suppose that's up to question. But I think Tarantino is trying to, go in with the 60s theme and how, he seems to be pushing like the how times were different thing quite a lot, and
Can you imagine
Sharon Tate pick up a hitchhiker earlier.
I can imagine Sharon Tate maybe picking up a hippie chick. I can imagine that. I can imagine an elderly man. Brad Pitt, he's 55. He's picking up a girl that he's not
she's
sure.
Also making "I want to fuck you" eyes at him like all three times before they meet. And by the way, she is fantastic. Whatever her name is,
I don't know what her name is, but she was from The Leftovers, right?
I never saw The Leftovers, but she was great in The Nice Guys. And she's apparently somebody famous. Oh, I think she's like Andy McDowell's kid or something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
We also had Uma Thurman's daughter
Who
in
is fucking? I wish he was in it more. I have at the end of this. We need to get back to that because I feel like Tarantino's going to do Kill Bill 3 and he's got to put her in it because she fucking killed it in Stranger Things or whatever.
Well, I also thought, how bad can the whole Uma Thurman thing have been if she's in this movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still cool. Like, I think when that shit came out, it blew up a lot, and I think she still probably is, like, you know, there's some, it sounds like it's a tender subject, but they had, like, I think they dated after, because after she broke up with Ethan Hawke, which was after the movie came out, like, a while after, like, I think her and Tarantino dated for a while, and they're still cool, so I guess whatever it is, they're past it, But yeah, I don't know. But I think, you know, if Tarantino is actually serious about doing Kill Bill 3, like he always said he would, that would be a really cool angle if you could include her, because it's like astounding how, like, she's definitely got the face of her father, but she's got like the voice and delivery of her mom. So two of them would be like crazy, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I would hate to see him like the Kill Bill movie. I like Kill Bill Volume 1. Mm-hmm. Not really into volume 2.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I was like, man, please don't waste a whole movie. Don't make me 5 years for you to make volume 3.
Well,
like just do something different, man. I didn't even take this crazy Star Wars, you know. Or
yeah. Well, okay, so I'm kind of confused because I know he keeps on saying he only wants to make 10 movies. He says that he counts Kill Bill as one movie. So I think that's going to be.
So he wants to do 10 stories. Is that
he wants to do 10 stories? So I think that's going to be a sneaky way of making a new Kill Bill. I think he's going to do the Star Trek thing after this, and then he's going to do Kill Bill 3, like big surprise, and then he's got one last one in the chamber. But I'm really curious what the fuck that'll be. You know, like it's kind of like hard to set yourself up for. You know, just give yourself a predetermined number like that.
I mean, he'll never retire gracefully. No one retires gracefully.
I know. I think that's the reason why he keeps on saying this. So, and you know, like his movies are great, but I do feel like he's not going to be able to. Even a filmmaker as good as him is not going to be able to, you know, like retain the same edginess. Like I think he's probably trying to retire. Before he like Coppola's himself or whatever, just keeps on making shitty movie after shitty movie.
I feel I don't know, man. I mean,
he still comes out with, you know, he takes his time with shit. He's also the type of person that he could just fucking probably get his own like a TV show or something like that where he just talks about pop culture or something and just become one of those, you know, like he's like one of those. He's a director, but he's also like a celebrity, basically. So he can just Kevin Smith himself and coast on a celebrity or something.
I would hate to see that. Honestly, the whole Kevin Smith thing should give pause to anyone. And I adore Kevin Smith. If I saw him, if I met him, I'd shake his hand. I'd say thank you for all those great movies you made in 1996. But like his whole trajectory, man, I've been like. Oh, dude.
I don't know. I still love the guy. Like, I'm happy. I agree. He has been like coasting on that shit for a long time. But like, you know, I honestly.
What was his last movie that you enjoyed?
What
was it?
I liked
Tusk.
No, Red State was great.
What was the one with the wiener Nazi sausage?
Yoga Hosers. Like, look, even the bad, like, you know, Tusk and Yoga Hosers are kind of like meh, but I enjoyed them. Like,
are you going to enjoy Bill and Silent Bob Strike Back again?
You know, I actually will. I gotta admit, you know, same thing. I'm not saying like look, if people don't like him, I totally understand. I think like I still listen to his podcasts and stuff, so I got a.
No, I love the man. I you know, that's what it kills me.
Yeah,
it kills
yeah.
me.
But I mean, look, he always had like a very specific. I keep on saying the word niche, but like he's always like he knows how to write like very specific things, and at least like I'm more excited about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back than some of the TV projects he was doing were. Like, you know, that weed show he had?
I'm jazzed to hear more about his episode of Supergirl that he directed.
Yeah, that stuff. Like, I mean,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
But I mean,
please just remember Chasing Amy,
right?
And Clerks, man, and Dogma and Mallrats. Remember these classics, bruh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean-
remember us watching them in high school. We're just, oh, yeah, Mallrats is on. Oh, you know.
Yep.
I mean, those are just the classics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then just, oh, you guys won't believe what I did with The Flash this week. Let me live tweet my Flash episode I directed for the WWB. Like, I'm like, oh
man.
dude.
Yeah, he's definitely, you know, maybe you don't need to go that. Okay, anyways, Tarantino does.
All right, we shit on poor Kevin Smith enough.
But I mean, yeah.
All right, what else? You got anything? I mean, did you want to talk about? Are you offended by the racism of the Bruce Lee scene? Go.
Didn't think it was racist.
That's racist.
Oh shit.
We already got you.
I liked the scene. I kept on, even though the guy playing Bruce Lee was great, I kept on getting thrown off because even though the guy that was playing Bruce Lee was jacked, Bruce Lee was like crazy jacked. So I kept on.
The greatest thing ever is watching the talking heads talk about this movie, and they're like, I just want to point out, I didn't find his portrayal, the actor, the Asian actor playing him did a great job, and that didn't offend me. But like the thing they had him do was offensive.
What was the thing that was offensive?
Oh, just pretend to be Bruce Lee, I guess. I don't know. I mean, his daughter is pissed off.
His daughter's pissed off. Like, they portrayed him as a cocky asshole, but he was somewhat
she's
known.
pissed mostly for that.
And, like, the thing is, it's a flashback in Brad Pitt's head, so who the fuck knows? He could be just embellishing it, you know what I mean? Like, this whole movie is about, like, kind of fudging history and kind of taking whatever narrative pleases you. So maybe he's thinking about like, oh yeah, remember that time I kicked Bruce Lee's ass and he totally got his ass kicked or something like that.
Well, I've never seen a door crumple like that, and a door from a car made in the 60s will not crumple like that. Right. That may lend to your theory there.
Yeah. And it all felt kind of just like strange. I don't know. It felt very surreal, kind of, or whatever. It felt like out of nowhere enough where I could see it being a daydream or something like that. But who knows? Like same thing. This movie lets you interpret, like draw your own interpretations from a lot of different things, and even though it doesn't have the narrative drive of a lot of Tarantino's movies, and I think I think that's why he's always goes for the revenge plot through line, because I think he really just, the reason why he makes scenes with such good dialogue and such well-drawn characters is he just wants to have these characters hang out and bullshit and talk. That's the thing that made Pulp Fiction so great, and I think he often resorts to this revenge through line so he can have like an end goal, but the movies can meander as much as they want. And for this one, I think the movie is all about the meandering. Like he literally was just like, I love this era and I want to live in it, and I literally like want to walk around with Sharon Tate and watch a movie, and I want to fucking hang out in Leonardo DiCaprio's pool. And yeah, I'll kind of tie it together at the end with fucking Leonardo DiCaprio flamethrowing some chick, but like I really think he was just like he had all these like little things that he truly loved that he wanted to pay tribute to, and I think it was really more for him than like everyone else or whatever.
Now, do you think Tarantino wasted an opportunity to throw another life preserver to maybe an actor of ages past and resurrect a career by casting them in Leo's role? Maybe the late Luke Perry, maybe somebody else that maybe could relate more. Watching Leonardo DiCaprio pretend to be a struggling actor was like kind of weird for me.
Really? I mean,
does you know what I mean? Like how?
I mean, you're totally right. You could cast that, and
what if he got like Tobey Maguire?
Yeah,
or something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like someone who's like, where the hell is Tobey Maguire?
Yeah, I mean, you've got a great point, and I'm sure whenever he's done that, where you kind of take you cast someone based on their kind of like public identity anyways, like, you know, casting David Carradine as Bill in Kill Bill because of Kung Fu and all that stuff. Actually, that's a very good point.
Travolta, Pam Grier,
Yeah.
Michael Madsen. Like, he's got, like, he loves the character actor and then redemption.
That's a very
whole
good
thing,
point.
you know?
I mean, you could do that. I think I had heard that Tarantino, probably, you know, there's no real Rick Dalton or whatever, but Brad Pitt and DiCaprio's relationship was kind of seeming to be most closely based on what's his name? Damn it, what's his name? Smokey and the Bandit. Fuck.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds, yeah, it's supposed to be Burt Reynolds and his stuntman. They had a similar relationship, kind of, and
I could see that.
And in fact, apparently James Marsden was supposed to be in the movie as young Burt Reynolds, but they had to cut his scene. And then, of course, Burt Reynolds was supposed to be in
Bruce Dern's role, right?
Yeah, and then he died right before that. So
damn,
it's crazy, man. But him and Luke Perry, that's crazy.
Did we lose Bruce?
What's up? Oh no!
Is Bruce Dern still with us?
No,
I can't
Bruce
remember.
Dern's still with us, but
can you imagine? I can't believe he's the one that survived.
I don't know, man, but like, and you know, he did
shit.
that. He for Nebraska, he ended up taking Jack Nicholson's role because Nebraska was supposed to be Jack Nicholson's last movie, and you know, so Bruce Dern is clearly good at sweeping in and, you know, taking other older actors.
God damn it, Bruce! Yeah,
I'll do anything.
Bruce,
him and Christopher Plummer, man, they're saving the movie industry.
they're just sitting by the phone.
Yeah, I'll
You know
do
what I mean?
anything.
Who got Me Too now?
Yeah, right.
I'm on it. I'll be on the next plane.
What's that? Jennifer Jason Leigh canceled? I can fit into a tutu. It's fine. Like,
yeah. You want to get into the ending? Maybe my favorite part of the film.
Yeah.
And both Ash and I decided after our first comments to each other was, "God damn, that dog was great, huh?
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that dog."
Yeah.
And then our second was like, "If that fucking dog died, I would have burnt this movie theater to the ground." You know what I mean?
never
I was like,
killed
if
the
that dog
dog.
gets killed, when they go out for the walk, man,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
if that dog gets stabbed to death and I watch a dog die on film
No.
via stabbing at the hands of these assholes, I will burn
dude,
this
they
theater to the
totally
ground.
set up what a badass that dog is. Like, you can tell, like, as soon as, like, it's like Brad Pitt's got the dog trained to the point, like, he won't go for the food.
I was like, that dog is going to do something great.
Yeah, that dog is going to rip someone's nuts off.
The dog, by the way, did you know that the dog was the only thing that won an award at the
At Cannes?
at Cannes?
Really?
It won Best Dog.
They have a Best Dog Award?
A Palm to Dog.
No shit, really?
I'm
Is that
serious.
Like
Google
is that
it.
like a fucking, the
won Best
raspberries
Dog.
or whatever?
No, it's the real award.
Wow.
Palm to Dog.
Wow.
He won. Oh, Brandy won. I should say she won.
And
I also want to know if there were multiple dogs.
Yeah.
You know, like they used 7 cats in Pet Cemetery, but this goddamn dog did the whole damn movie.
Oh, it was one dog?
Yeah,
Oh,
how did you
man.
get multiple dogs
That's
to
crazy,
do that?
dude.
I was like, well, surely they have a number of dogs that did
You know,
the scene where it's shaky cam and stuff, but no, it was all one dog.
I bet you Tarantino knew the owner of the dog. Like, so many things in this movie. I think he does it a lot anyways, but you can tell he was like... Because I heard he's very good on sets, and he likes the atmosphere on sets, and it's almost like a party sometimes. And this movie is so clearly like, oh, hey, I'll write a role for you and all of your kids' friends and everything like that. Like, everyone gets 2 lines, and so I kind of wonder if he was like, oh, I know this dog trainer that has this incredibly well-trained, badass attack dog. You're in the movie. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, man. Because he said, like, I was reading about the dog, and he's like... You know what? I didn't understand how good the dog was until I started editing it, and then I forgot all the bullshit of shit you have to deal with dealing with the goddamn dog. You know what I mean? Because they have to have animal rights groups that are standing there watching it. The dog can only work like they would rather watch a 4-year-old,
work 12 hours and
or Schindler's List is in a porta potty. Oh well, how long has it been in the porta? Oh, it's okay. They can wait and shit for another 30 minutes. But the dog, hell no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm sure, they had every conceivable
Yeah, like
precaution and safety
PETA
measure
person
for that,
on
that
standby.
dog.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure PETA was on standby for that part.
And they're still pissed. So I mean, what can you do?
I mean, whatever.
But,
like it's, I would say it's a great dog scene. You know, whatever. People are gonna get pissed about everything.
As dog kills someone scenes, it's right up there. Better than John Wick that we saw earlier this year. You know, really enjoyed. You know, love to see a dog kill a person.
Right, right. Especially when it's like a deserving person. Usually, it's like the dog. You know, a lot of them.
Horrible way to go, I imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he gets what is it? He the text or whatever. He gets the dog bites his dick, and then does he get stabbed in the dick after that as well? Something happens to his dick again after that. I think.
I was trying to remember.
I think he gets stabbed in the dick as well, or something. Could be, or maybe he gets shot in the dick. Nah.
I can't.
It all blurs
because
together.
his death was the least memorable. I'd argue.
Yeah, I mean, well, certainly just because the others were like insanely brutal. Like it was nice, like you know, for a movie that was so weirdly chased of violence for a Tarantino movie. That little great.
It's crazy. Yeah, you know the talking heads. Some of the same talking heads that are upset about Bruce Lee are upset about. You know, this film is very anti-woman. There's a lot of anti-female violence. There's a lot of violence towards women. You know, Brad Pitt smashes this woman's face into a
they also
concrete.
Smash the dude's
you know,
face. Yeah.
yeah. But it's just like you know,
they were saying the same thing.
Equal
they were saying the
opportunity
same thing
face
in
smashes.
Hateful Eight when Jennifer Jason Leigh got
Well,
hung. But I mean, I think Tarantino. You know, Tarantino always gets asked that question a lot, and he always says like, "Look, I'm an equal opportunity. I do horrible thing to men as well." So
yeah,
you know.
even George R. R. Martin has said the same thing. He's like, no, the time period I'm writing about was pretty horrible.
Yeah,
like for women, for anyone who wasn't in power, it's terrible. So I'm not gonna pretend it's not. But you know, if anyone's got to be flamethrowered,
yeah. I mean, that was nice that came back. I was kind of glad that
was my, I loved it, man. You have to just go with it, because if you start to think about how someone would reasonably
be able to like turn
kind of, yeah, right. I think anyone who has not been drinking a pitcher of margaritas would be like, holy shit, like someone stumbled into my house, they're drowning in my pool, I better rescue this person, I'm liable.
Yeah, but she started shooting the gun.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I think,
but still,
yeah. I mean, but no, I totally agree. And
he doesn't investigate beyond. Let me get in my shed.
Yeah, I think we were at Cuckoo Bananas Land at that point. I kind of wish, like, I know they were trying to stick so close to the reality, so you could only have the originally 4, but I guess in this case 3 Manson family members. Like I almost had wished that they had been like, and then 5 more showed up so they could all be slaughtered as well or something. But
because in reality, was it 4? Was
it was 4? But in this reality,
3 were women, right?
Yeah, I guess he didn't want anything bad to happen to Uma Thurman's kid or whatever. It was Tarantino does have this weird way of throwing in like random characters in the climax last minute, like you know, for me, this one, like the Italian actress that DiCaprio marries at the end, who was great. Like, she was a great source of humor, and you know, it tied in well. But I think it contributed. You know, it was intentionally contributing to the sense of just like craziness in the climax. But he's done that in other movies too. Like sometimes there'll be like, I think in like Kill Bill and Inglourious Bastards, there's always like, oh, hey, there's this other new character and we're just going to have them stick around for this action scene, and then they're gone from the rest of the movie or something. Like, yeah, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But
no,
so overall, how would you say you came out on it? Like, do you know for sure yet? I'm still kind of grappling with this one. I liked it a lot, but I still don't know how I'd rank it on all of his, because it's kind of got a different feel from the others and everything.
Yeah, I think it's probably the least cartoony of his movies. It's a slow burn, but I mean, I think if you kind of I don't know. I was never bored. I was
Yeah.
never like, oh man. I know like certain things really upset some people or just annoyed them, or like how much driving there was,
Right,
or how many
right.
scenes of just driving. But that doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing that I don't think any. I mean, the little stuff that we mentioned, little things that just were like, I don't think that makes sense.
Right.
Like, hey, let's go murder a house full of people, and then we'll split up and we'll hitchhike home.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, Tex, no one is picking your ass
Right,
up.
right.
If you're covered head to toe in human blood.
Yeah.
So like little things like that, I couldn't stop thinking of, how's he gonna get home? How's he gonna get home? He's not getting home.
Well,
He's gonna be on foot.
they were all supposed to
fleeing
be
a murder
tripping on
scene.
acid, I guess, if that helps at all. But no, I agree.
I was like, these other girls might stand a chance, but not you. Surely you're not getting home, dog.
Yeah, Tex. I was wondering, when Tex was like, when they were at the Spawn Ranch or whatever, and Tex was showing the two old people around on the trail, like, Tex still looked like a serial killer then. Like, if I was
I
those
feel
two
like
old
just
people,
more people look like serial killers.
yeah, but if I was those old people, I'd be like, I would prefer to go with, the sweet looking, 19-year-old
hot hippie
girl.
chicks?
Yeah, like she, like at least Tex, like she doesn't look like she's gonna fucking like bury my body in the canyon or whatever. Like Tex,
Well, I mean, it's. I guess that's their one of their sources of income.
Yeah.
Was doing those like horseback tours,
Right.
and I think Bryan Cranston, of
Breaking Bad?
Of Breaking Bad fame, he has like a classic story that he tells on like podcasts and stuff where he remembers doing that horseback tour like as a kid. And,
Oh, no kidding. Oh, wow.
He didn't take one from Charlie Manson, but he passed Charles Manson on like one of the
no
paths.
shit. Wow.
Yeah, like he was going out and Manson was leading another crap coming back, something like that.
Dang.
Where he's like, yeah, we just, because his cousin worked near, I don't know, go find the story, it's online or something, but I thought that was kind of fun.
That's crazy, dude.
Another little thing that bothered me is, they slash his tire so that he's stranded there, but they want him to leave.
Right.
And I thought, well,
That's
that's
pretty dumb.
that seems like the opposite of what we want. And I was having like I had a moment like that, like in college.
You got your tires
that was
slashed?
pretty similarly. Like, do you remember where I used to live in college? Like did you ever come to my like double wide trailer that we basically had?
No. You lived in a trailer?
Well, no, yeah, basically,
What?
because the student housing, they were just trailers. They converted into dorm rooms.
Wow.
And they would call it a village, right? And so I lived in this quote unquote village of trailers, and it was just all like college. It was just us. It was people who went to the college,
Right.
Like it was on campus like housing,
Right.
And my parking lot, we went to a big commuter college. There's tons of people, tons of parking lots. And my parking lot, you would just walk like through this little bit of woods, and you would get to your room. And I remember Ash ran into my room, knocking on the door. Hey, these guys are in the parking lot. They're going to tow your car. I'm like, what? So I run out, and I guess the college had rented the parking lot for like a bunch of like Fast and Furious assholes that were basically doing like this weird like supercar meetup thing where they just they all like back into a parking spot and pop their hoods and then like jerk off about how awesome their car is. And I had not moved my car, and it was just parked in like the top corner, and they were like, oh yeah, like and so I go out there and I go, who the F says is going to tow my car? And these guys like saunter up to me, and Ash will tell you the story. Like, I was upset. And
I mean, I would be too.
like, yeah, like,
But-
not like unreasonably upset. Like, this is one of my like, if Ash has ever wondered if I'm willing to fight like 3 or 4 people at once, she no longer lives with that
The question has
thought.
been, there's no doubt.
it's long dead in her mind. I remember like, I told, he's like, yeah, you better, blah, blah, and I go, shut the fuck up. just deadpan. And Ash is just like,
Oh shit!
I'm gonna watch my boyfriend just either win or lose a fight with 3 or 4 of these other guys real quick. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was just like, man, this scene is just taking me back to that plot where you're like very outnumbered, but you just kind of have to stand your ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of took me back to that spot, you know, where he's like, come another step closer, I'm going to knock his fucking teeth out.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I've been there, dog. Like, that is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, I would have walked up and taken that knife back real quick and not left him broken and bleeding with like a knife at hand.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right. Oh yeah,
But,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
probably not the type of
that
person.
one of those things really bothered me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was, I don't really have major little like, but he's basically your prisoner. You've essentially kidnapped him. In the eyes of the law, you've probably kidnapped this man.
Yeah.
You've assaulted him and you're kidnapping
You're
him.
dragging him
and you're
away.
forcing him to do something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But there's a knife.
Yeah, and also
it's
there's
his
like
knife.
what
It's a knife
like,
he's familiar
there's
with.
20 plus women standing over there that are easily like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right. Right.
Even if you like,
If they all band together,
Exactly.
they can take the plane down.
yeah, and
You know what I mean? You're just one man.
I like, and though they edited that scene to drive up the tension of like, ooh, Tex is arriving, will he arrive in time? Like, I do kind of wonder, you know, after the tension of him kicking the shit out of that hippie subsided, I imagine it was probably like a little awkward when Brad Pitt's just standing over this guy waiting for, you know, changing a tire takes a few
How long does it? Oh, yeah, it takes a few minutes. You ever change a tire?
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like, okay, you're just going to be like staring at each other for like 10 minutes or whatever while this dude. And I imagine dude didn't look like the sharpest tool in the shed, so he probably was not doing a good job of it or whatever.
It was also weird how like he's conveniently wrapped up by the time Tex like makes
Arrives.
Tex is hurrying back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
and like
that was like super. I don't know. It made me think of like some sort of like John Wayne movie. It felt like he was doing his throwbacky, you know, some reference to old cowboy movie kind of thing or whatever. And it did kind of like I think they were trying to drive up. Like the other thing is like I'm like I know the basic details of the Sharon Tate murders, but I feel like if you are really intimately knowledgeable of the Tate murders, you'd appreciate like I kind of got that sense. Like it seemed like he had a lot of focus put on little details, and I know enough things. Like I know Tex saying like, you know, what is it? I'm the devil and I'm coming to do the devil's work. Like that's a very famous thing, and that's one of the things I liked about the ending, where like after Brad Pitt kills him and he's talking to the cops, he's like, yeah, he said something about trying to do the devil's work or some shit or something, like, you know, that's like taking the power away from it, you know what I mean? But I think little things like that, especially relating back to the Sharon Tate stuff, and like who the celebrities they were partying with were, like, I think the more intimately
I saw Mama Cass, you know, they had
oh yeah, and then of course there was House
Steve McQueen
Yeah.
doing that weird like little exposition explanation.
Yeah, that was
You
cool. But yeah, like I think the more acquainted you are with what actually happened, the more you'll appreciate with this deviation that he's doing, or this like, I don't know, it almost feels like you know, like 60s fanfic for real life or something, you know.
It's a what if, my friend.
Yeah, it's a really good what if. They're gonna turn that into a Marvel cartoon show.
It's coming
Plus.
out in 2027.
Yeah, 2027 when Tarantino's doing the next 12 Spider-Man movies or something.
They're gonna get him, man. They're gonna get him. They get everybody.
Wasn't he? They said that they were trying to get him to do something a long time ago, and I think he
I just don't know what you could do. Have him do the Punisher
I think
again or something.
he said he
or
wanted
something
to do
crazy
like
that.
Luke Cage or somebody that was like street level and cool or something like that.
He would name some insanely obscure
Yeah.
comic that came out that was
he did.
you know,
It was like Demon Knight or something like that. Like somebody like, you know, nobody
it
cares
was like
about.
Moon Knight or something.
No, it wasn't even Moon Knight. I think
No.
there's like
Moon Knight's too high profile.
Yeah,
for him.
probably. I think it was called Demon Knight. It was like I remember reading some article about it, and I was like, remember it being like D-list, E-list superhero or something like that.
You should do like X. Did you ever read X?
No, what was it?
I want to say it's Dark Horse. I think it's a Dark Horse
of
comic.
course.
I have a few of the omnibuses.
Okay.
But he's kind of basically like the Punisher, but he's He's like a mass vigilante.
Oh,
kind of
and he
thing,
wears
yeah.
like a red mask or whatever.
With a giant X on it,
Yeah,
my man.
and it's like hanging down, like tattered and stuff.
And he does a lot of revenge-y type,
Yeah.
like take out the mafia type stuff. So
Man, fucking Dark Horse and Wildstorm and there was a few comic companies that like that was their whole thing, is just like edgy 90s super muscly guys shooting machine guns.
Rob Liefeld style shoulder patches everywhere.
Totally pointless, and like people with biceps that like will literally the size of like 2 human faces or something like.
Exactly. It's not even possible.
Oh, the 90s.
All right. Any closing thoughts? Anything else? Did you enjoy Lena Dunham? Did you enjoy Dakota Fanning?
Yeah, I liked. I gotta say, same thing. I think I said it before, but this definitely felt like a movie that was like, look, I'm gonna write. Everyone's got at least 2 lines. All my favorite people are gonna be there. We're gonna be shooting in LA, so it's not gonna be that far away, and we're all gonna have a good time. And I kind of felt like that translated, and I thought there was a lot of pretty good performances. Even people that, Kevin Smith's kid popped up for 2 lines, and the one person I couldn't find, like, I kept on reading that Willis's kid was in it, and I didn't recognize her, and I feel like
she was one of the dirty hippies. I bet
she was just one. Yeah, there was a surprisingly large amount of them, so I had a hard time keeping track of who was who. But
she might have been the one climbing out of the dumpster.
Yeah, probably.
Getting the Wonder Bread. What else?
Yeah, fucking... But, yeah. Oh, yeah, we already said... Oh, Al Pacino? Al Pacino was kind of cool. He kind of seemed like Dino De Laurentiis, one of those dudes,
He's another one that just kind of bums me out anymore, you know what I mean? I'm just like... I think this is the best movie he's been in forever.
Yeah,
it was kind of a fun... It's
a very slight role. Like he's only in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
but
I was like, dude, like it's like, was Danny DeVito busy?
Good point. Yeah, that is totally a Danny DeVito role.
Hey, I need a creepy sort of like sleazy-ish kind of like movie executive that probably has like a casting couch.
I'm honestly glad to see Pacino like starting to settle into that role a little bit more, because at least he's not playing another fucking cop or something. Like, I feel like one of the reasons why Pacino's roles have been, how movies have been so shitty, is his roles have been very weird. And, granted, I like that he usually tries in all of them, but...
Does he ever not have a daughter in a movie? Have you noticed that? He's got like an estranged daughter, or a daughter that's like being held hostage. Why do they always do that? Is it like a way to show vulnerability or something? Like, the badass cop always has a daughter that hates him.
Right. I mean, shit, look at Liam Neeson. I feel like that's when you're, because you're trying to broadcast to your demo. So if your demo is like 6-year-old guys that probably have young, annoying daughters that hate him, then, they can relate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a shitty dad, but I know in my heart that if my daughter was kidnapped by a terrorist, I would rescue her. I'm totally gonna forget her birthday though, so, or you know what I mean, like, but yeah, I agree. Hopefully, maybe this will be a Pacino upturn. Maybe
bring back Pacino, the kid. Give the kid a chance.
Yeah,
he's in the next. As we were saying before we started filming or recording, I guess not really filming it, but I made it halfway through the Irishman trailer. There's some Pacino, quite a bit of Pacino. I'd say he's pretty heavily featured, so he plays Jimmy Hoffa, right?
Yeah, I think he's Jimmy Hoffa, and it doesn't look good for him, folks. I don't think he's going to be in the sequel.
Strong words. This is a heavily medicated man. He's calling out sick tomorrow.
Yes, I apologize if you hear me sneezing on the other
his
end.
Jokes. Please take that joke with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very late on the East Coast, and he's heavily medicated.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
There you go. Well, we got what do we got coming up? We're gonna do The Boys.
Yes. Probably soon, right?
Soon.
Yeah.
I'm trying to plow through the show. We've got the books and everything. So how much of the books have you read?
Not. I wasn't even aware of the comic until.
Oh
so
my
I'm not
God.
going to read it.
Don't.
I'll let you handle that, my friend.
Oh my God.
What is it? All
right,
Okay. Well, we can save it for that episode, I guess. But
No. I'm not going to wait 3 months for you to read 18 issues or whatever it is.
Word.
I'll cover the bookness.
Cool.
I'll cover the bookness.
Cool.
You know what I mean? Usually you're the comic expert.
Yeah. I've been kind of falling
You know what I
off
mean?
lately, so
You're really, you're struggling.
I appreciate you. I'm infirmed. I have an excuse this time.
Well, I've got the first omnibus, so I'll mail it to you.
Okay.
And you can see for yourself. But to give you a little tease, the show is an abomination. It's terrible. Like as just as an adaptation,
It's totally different.
I think you would say it's loosely based on
Right.
a story by Garth Ennis.
Garth Ennis. I always just say
I've never
I always
known
say
how to
Gareth
say his
Ennis, but I think it's not pronounced Gareth. It's what is he,
Gareth?
Scottish or something like that?
He's Scottish as hell, man.
Yeah.
So I love the man. I love his other work. You might know him from Preacher.
Yeah. That's the only other one.
He didn't do. Did he do Transmetropolitan?
No.
That was Warren. Was that Warren?
Warren Ellis, yeah.
Warren Ellis?
No, he's done like one other big thing, but I think Preacher is by far his biggest
His
property.
claim to fame.
Yeah.
So he's got another one on his hands. You know what I mean? I know he's counting. He's just count that money, bro.
Whatever, man.
Stack that cash. But
Neil Gaiman's over there too. They're all just
Neil. I wonder if they just meet up like at the round table of writers who have had their shit just made into disappointing or subpar.
I mean,
crap.
this is the long game. They've had their like long, illustrious careers of producing.
Stephen King is just ruling over them with like a long. Is it long tooth chair? What do they call those chairs?
I don't know. Is that like the Game of Thrones chair or something?
No. What are those? I think I'm thinking of the tubs. Are they like long tooth tub or something?
I literally have no
Anyway,
idea what you're
imagine
talking
Stephen King he's got like a Mr. Burns style chair.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he goes, "Welcome to the club, fellas." And then he just hands them cigars and brandies.
And then George
and
R.
they
R.
just talk
Martin.
about how's your life's work being fucked up, and what are you doing to enjoy it?
And,
you know what I mean? I bought another boat.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I bought a new place in the Hamptons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm traveling the world. And they just laugh and laugh.
The good life, gentlemen. George R. R. Martin's coming around with the helicopter in an hour.
George will be around in a bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then Stephen King is like, my team of writers are working on another It.
Yes. Them. It's.
Yes, a sequel to It. It. Part 3.
Yes. More clowning.
Exactly. Stan Lee's ghost is running around. Hey, what's going on, man?
The Stan Lee robot is malfunctioning.
Yep. Exactly. Well, as good a point to leave it as anyway. So that's what's coming up. Where I'm going to complain about The Boys and how much it sucks, and then we'll get into it. Mr. Volpe, will certainly lend some commentary on how much the show sucks. And then I'll get into why the book is better and vice versa.
I'm actually very intrigued by this. Word. Okay.
As per usual for us.
Yeah,
you know what I
I
mean?
think.
Have we ever found anything that we were like, we really love what they did with it?
Well, I was actually going to say, I like I said, I haven't read the comics, but I totally, and I was not excited about the show, but we can get into it next week, but I actually am kind of on the opposites, at least so far. I'm only a few episodes in, but
You're into it? You might be into it because you don't know how good it is.
The source material probably, I can see it being better. But,
you're so blissfully ignorant, my friend.
I literally hadn't even. I saw an ad for it at some point, but like I said, man, is it a recent comic? Like, when did it come out?
No, it's been out.
It's been out for a while. Yeah,
it's at least
like a decade.
At least like I want to say 15 years, maybe.
Damn, son.
Something like that. It's not. It's not dated.
Right.
It's not super dated.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when it came out. I don't know, but it's
word. Okay, well, we'll have to nerd out about this because I'm interested to hear your take on it.
All right, so and then so we'll that'll probably be the next thing we'll get together after I'm still working on Too Old to Die Young.
Are we still even doing that now? I'm down.
Oh no, I think that's gone.
Yeah,
it's long
I was gonna say
we've talked about it enough. I feel.
Yeah, there's it's for 13 hours. It's like
13 hours, man.
I got through that shit in like 2 or 3 days too.
Oh my god,
that is so much sitting and staring.
The Wire, bro. It's so dense that you just
it's dense. It's dense, but also it's dense and it's not. It's dense and overstuffed at the same time. It's also hard
because I live with a human woman who can't. She's like, oh god, not this show. What is this? No, not this.
What's he doing with that whip?
What is he? Why is he cutting off that man's hands?
Yeah.
Oh, relax, Ash. You just don't appreciate fine art like Nicholas Winding Refn. Right. You're not from Scandinavia. Yes. You don't understand.
Yes. This is what true art is about. People staring at the camera with gels on plates.
You're a psychopath, sir. Like. That you would subject us to this is insane. And he's talked about it. He's like, I love fetish.
Right.
I love fetish, and that's all this was for me is just. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I know. You don't have to do an interview explaining how this is a fetish for you.
Right.
I get it, bro.
I mean,
I'm watching you get off doing these insane long takes and shit.
And it's like, I'll hand it to the guy. It's like kind of like one of those things that it's annoying, but he's carved out this image. He's got his aesthetic, and it is exactly if somebody said, "Hey, take Only God Forgives and extend it to 13 hours," that is exactly what you get. And there is some good shit in it. It's still there's a lot of good stuff in it. It's just there's an equal amount of bad
Grace
stuff.
To make the cut. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. You could totally
Topher Grace, get on it. Give me a 3-hour cut.
You could literally cut out the end 3 hours of this show, and it would be
that's probably what I got left. So
better.
Thank you for letting
but it also doesn't matter. Remember the whole thing they were saying. You can watch this in any order you like. I highly suspect that was because they realized, I guess technically you can because, once again, it's done in his weird style, but...
How was that?
He literally, when they first came out, he was making a big deal about, oh, yes, you can watch the show in any order you'd like, and it will still totally make sense. And, I think that's a diss to yourself as to how shittily you explain the plot in your own show. But so there are some really cool parts of it. It's just way too much. It's diluted with all. It's got some of his best instincts and some of his worst, and they're all in this super huge serving size. So, there is still some cool things about it. I still kind of feel like he should just do. I think he came out with a coffee table book recently in the last few years, and I feel like he's good at that. He's basically a fucking fashion photographer, and
he's here is what's the poor girl's name that he's from Neon Demon? Elle Fanning?
Yeah.
Here's Elle Fanning. Here's a picture of her looking to the right. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Here's her trapped in a triangle or whatever the fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I know, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We get it. Just can you make another Drive? I'm waiting for the next
even
Drive.
Drive was still. I think Drive was a fluke. I would kind of be interested.
What do you think is his? What do you think? I thought Neon Demon was about it. That's closest to. I feel where he's going, and we're never getting Drive again.
Oh yeah, of course. I honestly like Neon Demon.
Are we getting Pusher? I would take a Pusher.
I would love him to do Pusher. That's the shit that I want him to get back to. Is his roots. He hasn't done. It's basically he did the Pusher series and it was awesome, and then he
Valhalla Rising was after that, or no? Was there one more?
No. He did this movie called Fear X, which is all of his worst instincts. It's got John Turturro in it, and it's got Dexter's dad in it, James Remar. And it sounds like a cool idea. It's basically another one of his revenge stories. It's John Turturro's trying to hunt down the cop that shot his wife. And it was okay, cool, that's interesting. And then it dips so hard into all of the weird shit that he does, the surreal, nonsensical, non sequiturs, people staring out at the camera. And once again, I like a lot of that stuff, but it's got to be used in the right way. And so, honestly, I didn't mind it for most of the movie, but then the movie doesn't end. It has no resolution, and instead, it literally shows 20 minutes of, like weird, kind of like Enter the Void abstract blobs flashing. It's like weird lights strobing at the screen for 20 minutes, and the movie doesn't
I imagine
end.
he just has Enter the Void in the background.
Yeah.
Like 24/7 of his like apartment. Why didn't I think of that?
This is genius. This is genius. But we need to slow it down and make it take 12 hours.
You think him and Gasper Noé just like get on the phone and just have like girl talk?
Dude, yeah, they're probably like best buds.
I wonder if they love each other or they hate each other.
I could see them be
like they wish the other one didn't
both
exist.
Being petty as shit or something.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Oh,
and then Lars von Trier's in the corner like, could have been me. Could have been me.
That is like the party I want to go to the least in the universe. And is that next?
I guarantee that party exists somewhere in Scandinavia every year or something. They all get together.
Do Stephen King and George R.R. Martin and all the others show up too?
Well, because they're the party next door. They're the sellouts versus the not sellouts, right? They're the least sellout crowd. They'll never make any money. They'll die in poverty.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they just refuse to make things that people actually want.
Yes. They're subversion. It's subverting your expectations.
They're very talented guys that won't do what we want.
Yes.
That's you'll die in poverty.
It's fucking Refn reminds me of the fucking nihilist from Big Lebowski.
Yeah, pretty much.
We are nihilists. We do not make movies to please you, to make you enjoy life. We make you hate life. We make you think of pain and suffering, and try to make movies as excruciating as possible.
He's like an exhausting hot chick that like everyone just gets tired of,
right?
And then he just goes from network to network to studio. Oh, I did my Refn phase in college. I'm done with those.
Yeah. I'm out. I'm out, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm out. And he's just. I don't know what's next. I don't know.
I mean, whatever. He's actually, I don't know what's next, but what's next. Like all of his movies, I will hand it to him. Like he delivers what you expect, no matter what, every time.
But what I expect is bad now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I expect it to be bad.
Well, so here's my thing is like, was Drive that different though? Drive's a good movie, but it's not like a thrill a minute movie, you know what I mean? And I know it had a very specific aesthetic and stuff. So he's basically all he does, he has a very specific aesthetic and style, so you know what to expect. You know what, for the most part, probably what most of the music's going to be like. You know what most of how it's going to be shot. There's going to be slow-mo scenes. There's going to be it's going to be not much happens except for random sporadic violence that's extremely explicit. And basically the only thing that changes is the setting. Like, the thing I liked about it, I did like the drug cartel, the Mexican drug cartel. That was a kind of cool backdrop for his style. But I fucking really didn't like who's the main guy? The Whiplash kid?
Hold on. I know. I remember him best from Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller. I loved him in Whiplash. I feel like nobody has known what the fuck to do with him since, and I know that Refn's got this boner for having the silent protagonist, but watching the show made me realize how much better Ryan Gosling can do the silent protagonist thing, because I was just like, for being the protagonist of the show, he did not engage me at all, and I don't think it was necessarily his fault. Like, I don't think his character is a blank slate, but like in a weird way, like I at least felt like I kind of got something from Ryan Gosling, but like the whole show, or such a huge part of the show, being rested on Teller's back for a character that you never get to know anything about, and I think only really serves like symbolic purpose. Like I was trying to figure out what Refn was going for with, like, the first episode, Teller's standing in front of an American flag while he's giving a monologue, and I'm sure he's saying something about America, but I don't even really fucking know, and it's oblique and it feels pretentious, even though I don't even fully know what he's saying, you know. But anyways, sorry. I guess that was my thing with that show.
No, yeah, we love Refn. You know what I mean?
Well, I do
love
still
you,
love Refn. I'll still
But
go see
good.
his next thing, and I like that he's doing something weird and different, and yeah, he can he's at least getting asses in seats for something weird. Same thing as Tarantino.
There you go. Well,
yeah, we need more voices like that.
it all comes back full circle.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, well, shall we wrap that one up?
Yeah.
Wrap it
let's,
on,
stick
put a little
fork in
bow on it. You know? Well, there you go. A little bit of everything. Little tease for you. What's to come.
Yeah.
Me just miserable complaining about the boys. Brutal. We've talked enough about it.
We'll have to get into it soon,
Well,
but we're
well,
going
I
to talk.
just-
You and me are going to talk.
Oh, we're going to pod.
Yeah, we're going to pod.
pod
We're going to
about
pod. DTP.
We're always down to pod, as we say. We're always GDP.
Yeah.
Texted him last night. Down to pod.
Yep.
There you go. So, thank you guys so much for listening to our meandering nonsense talk. We appreciate it. If you care to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. What do you guys want to hear? You want us to hear complain about books, film, TV? What do you got? You know what I mean? Any suggestions? Anything? I actually appreciate the comments. You know what I mean? I love to hear what you guys' thoughts are. Feedback. Let me know. Horrible feedback. I just get tweets. People send us F off. You know, stuff like that. Good stuff.
Good times.
But you know, send us some suggestions. You got any films you want us to cover? You got any books, movie comparisons that are on the horizon? Really looking forward to the unfilmable, unwatchable, unreleasable Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley trash movie that's coming out. What is that one called
Chaos
again?
Walking.
Chaos Walking. So we'll make sure to do that. Anything else you guys got on the burner? You know, let us know. But we appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.